Yes, everybody's back in.
Okay, just notification to everyone. We had a motion to come back into regular session. No action was taken during the executive session, just discussion on the legal aspect of the FBI background question. So back to you, President Broussard.
All right, thank you. We're going to go to item 8A, meeting dates. Are these suggestions, Charlie? July 19th, September 28th, November 1, 2? Or are these?
Thank you, President
dates you'd
Broussard. These are dates that we have had on the book. We have the rooms booked for each one of those locations for those. So our next meeting would be July 19th, absent potentially a Zoom meeting before that if there's an emergency of some kind that comes up. So.
Okay. So is there action required, Charlie? Or are we just gonna,
Yes, sir.
is it information?
Just
Okay.
information. Yes, sir.
All right. So out of courtesy, does anyone have a comment or question about these dates? And we'll move on. All right. Item 8B.
Yes, thank you. The director's report. We've got a couple things here that we'll touch on. And one of them that comes up here, I need to get my paperwork back in front of me, is the racing update. Take that over. Here is, we've had a good summer so far. We did have an incident this last weekend at Wyoming Downs, and at this point it's still under investigation, but we did have 3 horses that were humanely euthanized due to injuries sustained during the running of 3 races: the 2nd race on Saturday, the 4th race on Saturday, and the 5th race. They were 2-year-old quarter horses. All were participating in the Utah bred for charity trials. The track was listed as fast. The stewards are currently conducting interviews and are pending. Toxicology reports are currently pending. As part of our process, we interview all of the affected parties, the veterinarians, the trainers, and the jockeys and track officials. While the fatalities are unfortunate, I want to impress on you and anyone that's listening in at this point, equine safety is at the forefront of everything that we do here at the commission. And it's also at the forefront of the horsemen, the track operators, and as I said, you, the commission. Providing any additional information at this time would be premature at best and a misrepresentation of the incidents. We will continue to monitor the work and work with stakeholders and go through this, and we will then present that to you all at the next commission meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Charlie. Did you cover 1 then? Bravo 1 live racing?
Yes.
Okay.
That's pretty much all we have. We've talked about the licensing issue that's coming up and pending and the concerns with that. So yes.
Okay. So do you have comments on HISA?
I think Commissioner Schiffer has done quite a bit of work on this, and this is in your packet. You have the HISA alternative, and I would like to turn it over to Commissioner Schiffer to kind of go through this because he has done a bit of research.
Okay, Dan, you have the floor.
Okay, and forgive me if I cut out because I'm in a car driving and I'm not sure how great the service is, but the HBPA, the Horsemen's Benevolent and Protective Association, the national branch, has drafted potential legislation as to repeal HISA and authorize the states to enter into compacts to cover most of the issues that HISA has said that they are covering. In other words, safety protocols, medications, and the like. Well, the difference being, in my opinion, it allows the state agencies to really be at the forefront and do the groundwork rather than a national organization overseeing the whole industry. And we've had some discussions with the HPBA. They are, I believe, very close to introducing this legislation, and we'll see how it fares.
Thank you, Dan.
Charlie, anything else I should add to that, because I'm not.
We heard you good, Charlie. Dan. So Charlie, I got a quick question. Last meeting, we discussed letters of support. Did those things happen?
No, they have not happened at this time. In talking with Dan, we wanted to reach out to our three delegates and talk to them a little bit, give them some background, and then move forward.
So, commissioners, any questions to Dan or to Charlie about this? Personally speaking, I think this is the way it should have been in the first place, being a federation of states. But should we write a letter, make our opinions known somewhere, Charlie?
Yeah, thank you. One of the concerns that I have, and I think you can kind of get a general, hey, we feel like this is a good direction to go, but this is also maybe a broader policy decision that we need to communicate a little more at this point with the governor's office on, kind of get his take on this. We have been communicating with the governor's office initially. Obviously, we were working with Rob Krager in the governor's office about this, and then Rob has moved on. Now we're trying to bring Rennie up to speed, and then starting next month, we have a new policy advisor we'll bring up to speed. But if you wouldn't mind, let me kind of check with the governor's office and see how they would like to proceed with this. It sounds like from listening to you that this alternative is a potentially has some positive direction, and let me find out what would be the appropriate way to go there and get back with you as soon as possible.
Thank you.
Mr. President, if I might add it, this is really early in this process, I would believe. So there's going to be a lot of discussion amongst all the players in all the states where this thing is going to go. So, I think we've got some time to really do our background and get this thing where we want it to be, if that's the case.
Thank you. All right, any questions on HISA? Or
President
The
Bissard.
alternative.
yeah, the alternative to HISA. Yep. Okay.
President Bissard.
Yes, sir. Commissioner Ridhall, you got the floor.
Really didn't ever hear too much about it on the news until Kentucky Derby, when 7 horses were put down. Will that report ever come out? What happened on that track? Or is that the lack of transparency you have with HISA? They'll never report it.
I have not seen a copy of the report yet. I don't know if Commissioner Schiffer, if you have seen anything pop up.
No, I have not, and I'm not even sure the report has been published yet. I know there were a variety of different types of breakdowns in that spate of problems. So I'm sure they're having a struggle, finding any particular reason. So I think it'll remain to be seen.
Thank you.
I do believe they will issue a report at some time, but I don't think it's going to satisfy what people want to see. In other words, I don't think it's going to say, well, this was the cause. Seems to be a variety of causes from what I'm hearing. Thank you.
Thank you, Dan.
President Broussard, Commissioner Ridholler, to follow up on Commissioner Schiffer's comments, everyone is awfully quick to point fingers at the racetrack surface. And, Commissioner Schiffer, said exactly, what is correct is there's so many pieces that go together in these puzzles. It's, and so it's really hard. The facts are with Churchill Downs, they ran the remainder of that weekend, and I believe maybe the next weekend, and then they moved the rest of their races over to I believe Ellis Park, if I'm not mistaken. But they did move those, and I know that they're looking at the track, they're going through this and working with the HISA representatives, and they're pulling in people from all different directions to help them through this process. So fatalities from anybody, on a racetrack is you shed a tear. Even the hardest people, when you see a horse die on the racetrack or anywhere, you tear up. At least I would hope so. I know I still do. So, but if there's any other questions anybody has on the Racehorse Safety Alliance, I believe, or Safety Act, that's potentially going to be coming out, please feel free to give me a call. We've got quite a bit of information on that, and I can connect you with the individuals that have. I almost was going to have one of the individuals get on the call with us today, but I thought it was premature for that.
Yeah, so it's an organization that's lobbying for the changes. Is that where we're at, Charlie?
Yes, the HPBA, in working with the representatives in Texas and in several other states, have been working to bring this forward as an alternative. It's going to be cost effective, at least it appears to be, and allow for a little more flexibility, but still, take care of the horse, look at the horse and do that right, and allow the states to be a little more involved, to look in transparency and different things. So
The assumption is we weren't looking after the horse, but that's false. So
yeah, I understand where you're going. We definitely, all of us, every racing jurisdiction is always looking at the horse, but I think that there's a lot of their rules, and Frank and I have had long talks about this. A lot of the rules that they do have with HISA are very good things, and I think at some point, take some of those rules and adopt those into our own. A lot of the safety rules, very important things to have. And give guidance to everybody. So there's a lot of positive. This is just a better way that I think that is going to be more affordable, more transparent, and allow for the little league people to kind of chime in and have their. It's not the the big racetracks that can do it. Hopefully, being all inclusive.
okay, thank you, Charlie and Dan.
Thank you.
If we don't have any more questions or concern about that, we will move to number 3B, skill-based amusement game license and updates. Charlie, you got something for us?
Yes, I do. Thank you again. I'm going to turn this over to Nick, and he's going to give you a brief update on where we are currently with licensing of skill-based amusement games. And then he additionally has a request that he would like to have you consider. And kind of to set this up with the 60-day limitations that we have on approving things, it makes it very logistically difficult for us all to set meetings and do some different things. So similar to what we're doing in other aspects of this industry, we're allowing staff level approvals. I'll turn it over to Nick to fill in the blanks.
Thank you, President Broussard. So just a kind of a brief update on the licensing part of it. As it stands today, we have 33 renewal applications. These are existing locations that are applying for the 23-24 year. We have 33 left. So we've done about 270 of those. We have 48 new locations that are now operational since the rules have passed. And we have 35 pending new locations. A lot of these, actually the vast majority of these, we're just waiting on the background portion to come back. Logistically, we're getting through it as quickly as we can. We have had some hiccups with, we get decal applications and payments for decals for locations that haven't even applied yet. So it's very hard sometimes to keep track of this check number goes to these locations, and I don't even have a location that matches those yet. So I've got about 15 spreadsheets that seems to be working. So far, so good. Any of the vendors can tell me I'm wrong if they need to, and remind me if I'm wrong. With that, in your packet, you will see that we did, I had submitted a letter seeking maybe the commission's approval for us as a staff. We currently approve the decal applications at a staff level, the new locations as a staff level, and the only one that is missing is the vendors at a staff level. Like the director had said, with the 60-day window, sometimes we get down to the wire. We get the applications and the payments and their plans, and we're reviewing all that as the background checks are in progress. And I log into the portal to check backgrounds multiple times a day. And I have one currently right now that is pushing that 60-day window. We're in about 4 days. The background hasn't been completed yet, but it could very well be completed within the next 4 days. And then in order for us to call a meeting with very little notice for that one vendor, it can be problematic. So what we're hoping to do is be able to review these new vendors. And if, they check all the boxes and they meet all the requirements of the rules, and there's nothing that really stands out there that is questionable, just approve that at a staff level to meet our 60-day window deadlines, and then maybe bring it at the next scheduled commission meeting as a consent list. This is what happened. This was the vendor. This is what they provided. We approved it on this date at a staff level, and then the commission could go ahead and give it their stamp of approval as well. That's kind of what we're looking for. And I would be happy to stand for any questions on that as well.
Thank you, Nick. Anyone have questions for Nick? Comments? Okay.
Your Honor, this is Commissioner Bull.
Go ahead.
Where does the 60-day deadline come from? Is it in statute? Is it in rule? Where is it?
President Broussard, Commissioner Bull, it is in state statute that we have 60 days from the receipt of an application to either approve it or deny it.
Does the statute, Your Honor, this is Mr. Bull again, Commissioner Bull. Does the statute require commission approval within the 60 days?
President Broussard, I'm pulling up the statute right now. President Broussard, so the statute just says the commission shall either approve or deny it within 60 days. And then when you look at the definition, it says it defines the commission as the Wyoming Gaming Commission. So it doesn't say the board of the commission or the staff of the commission. The statute kind of lumps the commission, all of us together, staff and commissioners.
So, Your Honor.
Go ahead.
So does our legal counsel feel that we're okay statutorily if we adopted a policy, I guess, of staff approval within the 60 days and ratification later by the commission? Are we okay with that legally?
Are you saying we have a conditional approval pending FBI? Is that what you're asking?
No, it sounds to me like we're talking about enacting a policy that would let the staff approve one of these licenses within the 60-day period with the understanding that it would later come to the commission for ratification. That sounds to me like what we're talking about. Correct me if I'm wrong. And I just want to make sure that that our attorney feels like that's within our statutory authority to do that. And if they are, then I say, great, let's do it.
President Broussard. So I can work with the AG's office and make sure that they don't have an issue with that. I will say that they haven't had issue with the staff level approvals on the operator side. So we've done operator side at a staff level. We do the decal applications at a staff level, and all of those applications under state statute they're all kind of under the same state statutes because it talks about the licenses in general. But I could verify that with them as well.
But Nick, do we have a written policy for all of this, or do we have rules for all of this approval by the staff? How are we is it just an informal policy? How are we doing it?
So the staff level approvals for the operators was done by a motion and a vote of the commission at a meeting. I'd have to go back and look through minutes, but it was done a while ago.
Okay, just through a motion and a vote.
Correct.
That's all I have, Mr. President. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Bowl. Dan, are you? Oh, okay. Okay. Any comments, questions, or concerns? Okay. All right.
President Broussard, we have a hand up from Ms. Wilkinson.
Okay, go ahead, Ms. Wilkinson. You have the floor.
Good morning, Mr. President, members of the commission. My name is Catherine Wilkinson. I'm here on behalf of Cowboy Skill and Pace-O-Matic. Mr. President, I would just urge caution that you allow a vote to be approved at the staff level. Not that we do not appreciate staff being able to approve it. We understand that 60-day deadline is a very tight turnaround. However, I would just ask that you look into that. I think it's pretty clear with the statute that it is required by the commission, being the entire Wyoming Gaming Commission, not just the staff, that you vote for approval of a new vendor. There's also the issue of public notice as well. And if that is just done on a staff basis, then you do lose the notification for the public by that. So with that, Mr. Chairman or Mr. President, I would stand for any questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions? Any other concerns or questions? Okay.
Mr. President, Dan Schiffer here. I was wondering if Nick could comment, or Charlie, if say the background check is not performed within the 60 days, then that means the application will be denied. Is that correct? Over.
President Broussard, Commissioner Schiffer, I wouldn't say that it would be denied, but we wouldn't be able to approve it or deny it either way without the results of that. So we've been in discussions with that. Luckily, we haven't come across that situation yet. But the thought is that if the 60-day window comes and we don't have a completed background, we would just have to basically tell them, like, look, we aren't in a position to approve or deny this. You've submitted everything, we've submitted everything. We're just waiting for the results of that. And as soon as we get those results, we can get this before the commission for approval or denial.
So Nick, is there a consequence for not making the 60-day window?
I think there could be ultimately, yeah.
Okay.
President Broussard, if I may.
Yeah, go ahead, Charlie. Please
Yeah,
fill me in.
Thank you. Hearing some of the questions that are coming up, I think it might be beneficial to all of us here to take a little more another look at this and and bring this back at the next commission meeting. As far as our logistics of this, it's more just, like I said, a logistical issue, setting a meeting, getting those things, trying to maneuver. We're close to the end of this. So the benefit from this is small. We can continue as we are doing today, take a little more look, take a different look at this. And then if it seems like it is a big issue, we want to bring it back and have a little more information and answer some of these questions that are coming up. So I would suggest at this time, no action. And we'll continue to work this and talk about it and bring it back potentially at the next meeting.
Thank you. All right. So seeing nothing on the agenda beyond adjournment, does anyone have a question or problem with me adjourning the meeting? Raise your hand now. Otherwise, the meeting is adjourned. Thank you. Thanks, Charlie. Thanks, Nick.
Thank you.